Please join me in welcoming 2011 Canterbury Medalist Eric Metaxas to the podium.
You're welcome. Christos Anesti. Nice. Nice. Let me start out with the bad news first. I thought it was going to be a cash prize. I'm not Foster Freeze up here. I'm a writer, I could use the help. You need to think about that, Seamus. What are you going to do? Hey, what's done is done. We're going to move on. But if I'm the winner of this next year, just think about the cash thing. There is no way for me to adequately respond to the encomia with which I have been so recently lauded. Are they going to be transcripts of this, Christina, later? Yes. And I'd love to get those videos if I could, put them on my Facebook. This is all too much. So if I seem unequal to it, that's because I'm unequal to it. So thank you for noticing. First of all, I want to say that Seamus and Christina in particular, what you guys do here, to get serious just for a moment, I'm very moved by it, and, well, there's no way that I could understand when I first found out, or now, how it's possible that they came to pick me. I thought hard about this. I prayed about it. I'm a charismatic. I was getting nothing. So I had to be a little bit more of a Catholic and actually think about it and do that hard first things kind of work that you do so well. But I'm not going to swim the Tiber. Just get over it. And look, there's Orthodox priests here, okay? If I'm going in that tradition, you know, I'm going to go over there. I'm not going to come to Rome. But thank you for trying. But I got to tell you, when I found out about this, I have never been, and those of you who know me, you'll laugh, but I have never been truly speechless. Yeah. It all started this way. Let me say this. I have been to a number of these dinners over the years, and as a writer, you know that I didn't buy a ticket to come. But I have friends, like my friend Chuck Stetson, sitting up here glaring at me. Stop glaring, Chuck. You're too close. Stop it. Who kindly invited me to come to these dinners. And I, as a writer, would come. They were held at the Metropolitan Club, so I could literally walk, which is better than taking Delta. But I have to say that I was so overwhelmed at these dinners. I was so amazed by the work of the Becket Fund and by these extraordinary people they were honoring, people like Chuck Colson, Robbie George, who is one of our Socrates speakers. All kinds of people that I was in awe of, people that I thought, these are my heroes. Most of them were either billionaires or in their 70s, let me say that, except for Robbie. But usually, so when I found out about this, it just made no sense to me. I was at, I remember the first one that I went to at the Metropolitan Club, I met William F. Buckley there. That's the kind of dinner this is. You meet people like William F. I said, that can't be, you know, William F. Buckley, he's a cartoon character in my pantheon of people that I would never actually meet him in a room and shake his hand, but somebody brought me up to him and introduced me, and I just stood there and just gushed at him for a few minutes, said how I'd been reading his books and so on and so forth, and he just looked left and right and he said to the person who just introduced us, obviously very well raised. that's the kind of, that's what the Becket Fund Canterbury Medal dinner is. You meet people like William F. Buckley. And by the way, I was very well raised. My father, Nick Metaxas, who is over here, always taught me about William F. Buckley. My mom is here. She's a communist. She's a communist. But I'm particularly thrilled my parents could be here. But that's the kind of a dinner that this was. And so, I didn't expect to be even nominated for this kind of thing for a good 40 years, I have to say. But it all began, as all good things do, with First Things magazine. Archbishop Charles Chaput, it's pronounced Chaput. Nobody gets it right, but it's Chaput. I met him recently, and he told me it rhymes with slap you, Chaput. But the Archbishop, it fell to him somehow to review my book for First Things magazine. And I don't know about you, but if you're not a legal scholar, if you're not Hadley Arcus sitting over here, if you're not one of those guys, being reviewed by First Things is a little frightening. I expect them to sort of, pat me on the head. It's like, he's an evangelical, what do you expect? How deep could it be? But he's on the right side, he's on our side. So, he's not Jean Beth Yelstein, but I believe he's conservative, some kind of a Christian. So we may review the book. And that's kind of the treatment that the Wilberforce book got. It was one of those, Father Newhouse doing, well, yes, sort of patting me on the head and, but when I got, a Google alert on my BlackBerry that somebody had reviewed, I read this thing and I thought, oh, First Things has reviewed my Bonhoeffer book. Okay, this is scary, so let me read this. And I read it, and it was by the Archbishop, who does his own writing. He's that bright. Let me tell you, my friends, I never have read a review like his review. It was, without any question, the best review of my book, or I should say it was the most positive review of any review that I expected to get anywhere. But to get a review like that in First Things magazine seriously humbled me, because if it's not been made clear, I respect First Things magazine and anyone affiliated with it. So I was really moved by that, and I wondered, who is this Archbishop Chaput? And so I looked him up, and maybe the most impressive thing about him, I thought, and I'm not joking, was I thought, oh my goodness, he's won the Canterbury Medal. That's a big deal. I've been to those dinners. Have I mentioned that? William F. Buckley goes to those dinners. Chuck Colson goes to those dinners. I was amazed by that. He invited me to speak in Denver, which I did. Met his chancellor, Fran Meyer. Just an incredible joy to meet him and get to know him. But it was during this time, he sends letters, by the way. Remember those? Letters, remember? So I got a letter from him inviting me to Denver, and I opened it up, and then I got another letter from him. I thought, well, he's invited me to Denver. I'm surprised to get another letter, and I opened it, and some kind of first paragraph about something, but then the second paragraph said that he'd nominated me for this award. And truly, I remember I was sitting in the kitchen with my current wife. What's your name, sweetie? My wife, Suzanne, my daughter, Anna Rose, are here. And I was truly speechless, because I know what this award is and what these dinners are, and I said, to be nominated for this genuinely makes no sense. I can't make, somebody's made a terrible mistake. I then read the next, but I thought, at least, I'm just nominated, so okay. But the next paragraph informed me that the committee had selected me. And again, there's just no way to tell you that when you know what I know about the previous winners. God help us, we've got names like Elie Wiesel in this group, Robbie George. This is something I was just not prepared to understand. But I think I figured it out. I think I figured it out, and I don't want to embarrass you, Christina, but I think I figured it out. I think probably what happened is that just before they nominated me, they nominated some amazing 70-year-old billionaire genius who passed away. Am I right? And then it's even possible that they went to number 2, and he also passed away. It's kind of like You remember when Karol Wojtyla was the really young, vibrant guy, the athlete, and they thought, let's pick him because the other two just passed away. So we need a 50-year-old. He's Polish. It's okay. He's 58. He's vibrant. He's an athlete. He skis. Pick him. Pick him. Remember that? Do you remember around that same year, Andropov passed away, Chernenko passed away, and they said, we need a young guy. What's Gorbachev doing? How old is he? He's like 50. Gorbachev. Just take him. We don't know if he's qualified. Just grab him. I think Wojtyla worked out pretty well, wouldn't you say? And I think Gorbachev worked out really well for us. Thank you. But I think that's what happened, and that's the only way I can deal with this, is that you just said, yeah, we need somebody who's, around 50, and okay, he's free, pick him. So that's just the only way I can deal with this. I just want you to know that. The other way that I can deal with this is by knowing that if I'd written a biography of Charlie Sheen, you wouldn't have picked me. So it seems to me that you may have, this whole thing may have something to do with the witness of the extraordinary Dietrich Bonhoeffer. It's, when you're standing on the shoulders of giants, it's tough to brag. And so I'm happy to stand on the shoulder of this giant. It's kind of like when it was mentioned earlier that I'd written a VeggieTales book that had sold 800,000 copies, right? Well, it's because it's a VeggieTales book. It's like the ant on the back of the elephant who thinks he's 10 feet tall. Trust me, you're not 10 feet tall. It's got something to do with the elephant. Writing a VeggieTales book is like that. They all sell more than if they weren't VeggieTales books. And I think if you write a halfway decent book about a really, 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 really great human being, that kind of changes the equation. And so, without any question, I stand up here able to take this in because I know that I'm really accepting this award without any question in my mind for Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I find that something that's just really important to say. Bonhoeffer is the real deal. He's a hero. I want to say just briefly how I came to write this book because I think it's significant. Basically, in 1988, I should say that I was raised in the Greek Orthodox Church. Any Orthodox people here? And so that's the good news. But then I went to Yale. That's the bad news. It's not Notre Dame. Yale is an aggressively secular environment. And if you go there with an open mind, you could be in big trouble. And I went there with a very open mind. And I have to say that by the time I got out of there, I was sure that anybody who believed in anything as parochial or corny as the idea of truth, was probably not somebody I wanted to hang out with. I was sure that to be sophisticated and wise meant that the idea that there could be a God who loved us, that the Bible is the Word of God, any of those things simply couldn't be true. I was convinced that, the enlightened, smart cultural elites had pretty much figured that out. And for the people in flyover country, for poor people, it's okay to believe that stuff, and you can pat them on the head. But you couldn't really believe this stuff. So I graduated quite confused, and if I think, had gotten like a really good job, it wouldn't have mattered so much. But I wanted to be a writer. And when you want to be a writer, it's harder to ignore the questions at the heart of the universe. That's what I was doing, thinking a lot about these things. Things got so bad at one point that I moved back in with my parents. And by the way, my parents are European immigrants. You don't want to move back in with them.